How comes the artist was in jail? She was framed.
You know you got it, babe.
Okay, enough of that. Welcome to my art channel called Artsyfartsymagic. My name is Kat Kinway. On this week's video, I wanted to discuss a video that I've been watching. It's a TED Talk. The title is The Art of Connection: How Creativity Can Help Our Mental Health. It's about a 14-minute long video. I will put the link down below if you want to watch it. It's actually very inspiring. I really loved Kate's speech on it. I just kind of want to point out some things that she mentioned that relate to my life and my art journey. I want to get into how art can help your mental health, and it is a cheap alternative to other therapies. Like talk therapy can be majorly expensive, prescription drugs can be expensive, but art can be a really good alternative if this sounds like something that you are interested in. If you are already a creative person, this is so perfect for you, especially if you struggle with mental health. And to be honest, I feel like most artists do struggle with mental health. We can be honest here. In Kate's speech, she mentioned that she does struggle with panic attacks. I completely understand that. I have struggled with panic attacks myself. For my story, I'm gonna talk about me in particular, just my mental health journey and how I kind of got to where I am today, because I am a happier person. I do feel like the work that I have done has helped me tremendously. What she mentioned is art is about storytelling. It's about you putting your soul into whatever you want. There's several different kinds of art. My niche specifically is visual art, but there's so many other kinds. There's music, there's dance, there's theater. You can do whatever you want, whichever one that inspires you the most. Visual art is mine. I'm gonna talk about my story and how I got to here.
If you need to learn how to talk to a lady, ask your mum.
This one's gonna be a little hard for me because this is face-to-face, and normally I'm used to doing voiceovers, and I'm trying really hard to be more personable. But talking about trauma is hard for me, but I want to get this out there. I want to be open and honest with myself and with my subscribers. I do have trauma from my childhood. I have trauma from being an ER nurse. I have trouble sleeping. I do have panic attacks, and the panic attacks only happen if I'm going to see my parents or plan on seeing them in any sort of way. It gets very stressful for me, because I know that if I do talk to them, there's always going to be some sort of drama involved. I did grow up with manipulative parents. I'm just gonna say right now, after watching Psych to Go channel, this channel right here, and watching so many mental health tips, videos, things to be aware of, I have manipulative parents. Grew up like this in an abusive nature with parents trying to control me. They solely wanted me to depend on them. And the second that I got out and was independent and could pay my own bills, they were mean. I deal with a narcissistic father. Grew up in a very toxic family home, very dysfunctional. They gave us the necessities. They did what they could, as they explain. Shelter, food, water, education. Love? No. Caring? Sometimes, when they felt like it. Expressing their feelings? Angrily. They need to go to therapy themselves. Only you as a person can do that for yourself. When I was 18, I got out. I lived on my own. I worked as a CNA in a nursing home. I worked 16-hour shifts Saturday and Sunday, and I went to nursing school Monday through Friday. I gave up my life for 4.5 years to study a science. Nursing school was very stressful. I did not have time to be a creative person. I had to study because I had to get out. I couldn't depend on my parents anymore because they would just throw it back in my face. That all happened. I became a nurse. I thought, this is it. This is going to change my life for me. I'm going to be a happier person. I'm going to be able to pay my bills and be independent and be the person that I wanted to be. I could pay my bills. I was an independent person, but was I happy? No, it didn't make me happy. I was stressed out all the time, taking care of sick people, people who don't care, people who think that you are a waitress to them and that you are there to serve them and not to save their lives, affects you as the nurse. I was a traveling nurse after a year in a trauma center in Illinois. Then I went to Washington State and COVID happened. That's kind of when my life started to shift. I started getting depressed. I still was a people pleaser. I still wanted to make my parents happy. I still wanted to make my friends happy. I still wanted to be there for people and not take care of myself at all. I didn't know what to do, and I only had a sketchbook with me. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna sketch a little bit. Did a couple of these when I was in my camper. I was like, this is cool, I enjoy doing this, but I need to work and pay my bills and save money so I can have a house one day. Fast forward, go back home to Illinois, get in a huge fight with my parents. I believe it made me set boundaries, made me realize that they are never going to be the parents I want them to be, need them to be. I've realized I'm happier with the family that I did choose, such as my friends and my siblings. You guys understand. It's very hard to grow up with a dad that has never really showed love to their children. It has affected me greatly. Hold up, I just needed to get that out. So went back to Illinois, had a big fight, ended our relationship. My mother-in-law died. She meant the world to me as well. Then we moved to Tennessee and I continued my ER nursing career where I currently live. And then when I realized the job was not for me, I would go into work and I would feel so anxious and concerned that I was risking my license because of how unsafe nurse to patient ratios are. And I thought to myself, if this is going to be risky, I might as well make money. So I went to LA and I did a COVID crisis assignment there. And by the end of it, I worked 60 hours a week for 8 weeks straight. I got paid fairly well. I had a good savings. And when I came back, I had more trauma. The assignment was right next to Compton, a trauma center. So you already know that's a very poor community. Families live with each other. When vaccines were not a thing, people were dying. Every older person in households were dying. Obese people, young people, every day. So I came home traumatized, not really sure what to do about my mind and how to take care of it. Because at that point, I was at my lowest. I decided to turn to art. I wanted a connection back, just like Kate mentioned in her TED Talk. After being in a bad place like that, it led to a connection and relief of all of those bad feelings and all that buildup. Like, look at what I just made. I did that. I'm gonna go through with you that meant something to me and has really helped me move on with my life. Since I had all of this money from working so much, I decided to invest in an iPad and Procreate. I wanted to further study as a digital artist. This piece is about just nursing in general. The responsibility of a nurse is very intimidating and it's very stressful. I was in a place where I just wanted to express that, so I came up with this. I wanted to express how I stood up for myself during that fight with my dad. His words didn't matter to me anymore, so this represented that. After I came back from LA, I created this piece. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was very depressed. I soaked myself in a bathtub for 2 months straight, but I wasn't like suicidal or anything. I just felt like death was better than living. So I created this piece, and afterwards I felt so much relief. Also around that time, I was struggling to find my sexual identity. I came to realize that I was bisexual and how isolating it made me feel, so I came up with this. When you draw things like this, it makes you cry. It wasn't just because I was drawing to draw it, I was drawing it to release an emotion. I was drowning in depression again. I just wanted to enjoy the sweet things in life, so I didn't really care about myself and I ate whatever I wanted, didn't care about myself. I drank because I wanted to drink. I didn't exercise because I didn't want to exercise. I came up with this. I realized that I had two sides of myself. One is super bubbly and fun and just fun to be around. That person is mostly me. Most people see that side of me. But then there's a few select people that see the sad cat. The sad cat gets dark. Feelings of being worthless. Again, circling back to my childhood trauma. So yeah, that's what this piece meant for me. I was still feeling sad, obviously, but I also felt like I was healing a little bit. I was starting to feel happier. I started to feel more like the true me, the happier me, but I just wasn't there yet. This piece, I was feeling very lost in my career. I didn't know if I wanted to be an ER nurse anymore. I didn't know if I should have switched to a different field and just see how it goes. I wanted to be a full-time artist, but obviously it's not something you can do just like. And then after all that, I painted this and I was like, the universe is endless and we're all just wasting time here. We might as well just have fun. Still kind of feel that way. This one made me feel happy. I was embracing my ADHD and I just did what I wanted to. I made myself flow with it, and I really felt the happiness after I produced the piece. There's a ton of other ones that I did. I'll just run through those real fast. This is a sexuality one. Basically, it's how I realized my queerness later on in life. Person in their middle 20s is when I started to realize I was bi. Recognizing that ADHD can be a gift given in certain circumstances, obviously. Embracing all of my past demons and looking towards the future. And finally, feeling empowered, feeling free from that childhood trauma. I really think art changes your life. It has changed mine. I kind of want to end the last collection that I have, and it's my eyeball collection. It's Tears of. First one is the light blue one. And that's when I finally started to look at myself with the inner beauty that I have and basically remind myself that you are beautiful and this life is worth living. And now I'm working on a book. In conclusion to what all I have just expressed, art helps you feel less alone and not as isolated as you think you are. Just know that you can love yourself as much as a family can love you, or people that were supposed to be that emotional support system for you. You can do that for yourself, and you can do that through art. I just wanted to share my story and be open and honest and authentic with all of you and kind of let you know who I am as a person. This isn't just my art channel, this is me. So I'm gonna say my closure words, and if you found this video inspiring or if you just thought it was interesting, give me a like and subscribe, and I will see you every Wednesday and Saturday. Thank you so much. Peace, love, and magic!
I love you like la 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 la.